Hello everyone, myself Pavitra Vyas from Department of Information Science and Engineering, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I am going to explain about HTML tables and forms. The contents which I have chosen are introducing the tables, styling the tables, introducing forms. HTML. HTML is nothing but hypertext markup language. Introducing the tables. A table in HTML is created using the tag table element, and it can be used to represent the information that exists in a two-dimensional grid. Tables can be used to display the calendars, pricing tables, financial data, etc. HTML table can contain any type of data. It includes text, images, numbers, forms, etc. Basic table structure. An HTML table contains any number of rows. The tag is represented as TR. Each row contains any number of table data cells. The tag is represented as TD. Some browsers do not display borders for the table by default. However, we can do so via CSS. Many tables will contain some type of headings in the first row. In HTML, we indicate header data by using the tag th instead of the td. Because browsers tend to make the content within a tag th element bold, but this can also be done by CSS. The main reason we should not use the tag th element is due to the presentation reasons. Rather, we should also use the tag th element for accessibility reasons and for search engine optimization reasons. The diagram represents the basic table structure. It includes the table and the columns as well. TR represents the table row, whereas TD represents the table data cells. Here is the program which indicates the basic table structure. Tag table, below that table row, table data cell, and that we have to mention what is the data we are going to put in, that is the death of the Marat. Next, the next data cell, and we have to mention all the columns which we will put into the table. Then now the table is created. Adding the table headings. We need to add the headings to the table. The table headings include the title, artist, year, width, and height. These are the table headings. These are put into the table by using the tag table row. Inside the table row, we mention th, that is nothing but the table heading. Using the tag th, we put in the table headings. Spanning rows and columns. There are two key features about the tables. That is, the first is that all content must appear within the tag td or th container. The second is that each row must have the same number of tag td, that is the table data cell, or th, that is the table heading containers. There is a way to change the second behavior, that is the same number of table data cell or the table heading. We can change it using, if we want a given cell to cover several columns or the rows, then we can do so by using the call span or row span attribute. Using the call span, that is nothing but the column span, or the row span attribute, we can change the second behavior or the feature. This diagram represents the spanning row and the spanning column. Let us look into the spanning row. Here, the second row, that is the Louis David, has occupied three columns, that is the death of Marat, the intervention of the Sabine women, and the next one. We can do so using or by writing a program. That is, we have introduced the table headings, that is the artist title and the year. In the next tag, we have included the table data cell, that is the row span. In that, we have mentioned how many rows we need to put in the heading. That is how we mention or we include the spanning row. Next diagram represents the spanning column. In this, the last column, that is the size, width into height, it has occupied two columns. So in the program, we need to mention col span is equal to 2. Therefore, two columns have been occupied by the heading size. This is how we represent the spanning column and the spanning row. Additional table elements. The element is used to provide a brief title or the description of the table. It will improve the accessibility of the table and it is strongly recommended. We can use the caption side CSS property to change the position of the caption below the table. The tags T-head, T-foot and the T-body elements tend in practice to be used quite infrequently but make some sense for tables with a large number of rows. With CSS, one could set the height and overflow properties of the element so that its content scrolls while the header and the footer of the table remain always on the screen. The tag col, that is nothing but the column, and the column group elements are also mainly used to aid in the eventual styling of the table. Rather than styling each column, we can style all columns within a column group with just a single style. The only properties we can set via these two elements are the borders, backgrounds, width and the visibility, and only if they are not overridden in a table data cell, table heading or the table row elements. This diagram represents the additional table elements. The first represents a title for the table is good for the accessibility. If we give a caption for the table, it is very easy to access. Secondly, it describes the columns and it can be used to aid in stylings. It is used for the styling. Next, the header could potentially include other table row elements. The table footer comes before the body. Always the table footer comes before the body. Next, table body. After the foot, the table body comes. Potentially, with styling, the browser can scroll this information while keeping the header and the footer fixed in a place. This is how the additional table element is designed. Styling tables. There is certainly no limit to the way one can style a table. Table borders. Borders can be assigned to the tag table, th, and the table data cell element. Interestingly, borders cannot be assigned to the tags tr, thead, tfoot, and the tbody elements. This property selects the table's border model. In this approach, Each cell has its own unique borders. We can adjust the space between these adjacent borders via the border spacing property. The diagram represents the styling table borders. Here we have mentioned table, and within the brackets we have mentioned the border, that is the solid 1pt black, that is it represents the color of the border. Thereby the border of the present output screen will be in the black color. Introducing forms. Forms provide an alternative way to interact with a web server. Forms provide a much richer mechanism. Using a form, the user can enter the text, choose items from lists, and click the button. Typically, forms using one of the server will take the input from HTML forms and do something with subsequent HTML based on that input. There were controls for entering the text, controls for choosing from a list, buttons, checkboxes, and radio buttons. HTML5 has added a number of new controls as well as more customization options for the existing controls. Form structure. A form is constructed in HTML in the same manner as tables or lists, that is, using special HTML element. The tag is represented as form. The below figure illustrates a typical HTML form. The form is defined by a tag form element, which is a container for other elements that represent the various input elements within the form, as well as plain text and almost any other HTML element. Here is the diagram which represents a simple HTML form. This form includes the details, title, country, and then the submit button. Detail. It is put inside the tag legend. The tag P represents the paragraph. In that we have a label which has been a title for uh, the below figure. Input type is equal to text, that is we can choose a title or we can just type the title which we need inside that empty box. Then comes the country. Here we have chosen the tag select name, and there are a few options which have been included in this. The user can choose any one of the country which they belong to. Then lastly, there's a submit button, wherein after filling the form, the user can just click the submit button to submit the form. Here I complete with my topic. Thank you. Have a nice day.